Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey now everybody, welcome to episode 391 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Aniston. Send you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
Thanks for joining us on tonight's show. We're going to be talking about Old Dads, Bill Burr's Netflix hit that's being widely seen right now. Also going to be talking about Sly, the documentary on Netflix that I can't wait to give my review to. Trevor hasn't seen it yet, but I'm going to make sure he sees it before the night's end at this point. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Trailers. I know I'm forgetting movies here. What other movies are we talking about on tonight's show? We're talking about Blue Beetle, the Netflix movie, or it's the HBO Max movie that feels like a Netflix movie that feels like a...
It's a DC movie.
It's definitely a DC movie because let's get into the particulars on that one. And trailers. Got to talk about Fall Guy, the Ryan Gosling, David Lettich combo on that. Going to be also talking about... I'm blanking here. Rebel Moon, another Netflix. Everything's in
Rebel
Netflix.
Moon, yeah.
Netflix.
I had lots of Netflix.
Streaming is taking over clearly on everything.
Yeah, we got
here.
some full moon here, so I'm pretty excited.
But also about Ghostbusters, which will be released in theaters. It is the second entry in the new trilogy that wasn't necessarily asked for, but we got it. So we're going to talk about the trailer for that.
Bad CGI Gator. Don't forget the full moon. Don't forget the Danny Draven. We've interviewed the director of Bad CGI Gator.
We have.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, we sure have.
Early years of Movie Mavericks.
I know.
And I was never going to forget Bad CGI Gator because I can't wait to talk to you about this. And that is the title of a full moon fun creature feature that is coming out in the next few weeks here. But first, as we do, trivia time.
Which of these performers made their screen debut in the schlock favorite Santa Claus Conquers the Martians? Oh, God, this is going to be hard. Pia Zadora, Stacy Keach, Anne Margaret, or John Rhys Davies?
I'm going to say Stacy Keach.
All right.
Just because he made some real shit.
Nope.
Wow. How could
It is Pia Zadora. Who is that?
Pia Zadora was that Latin Peruvian, I think, lady. You know Pia Zadora.
Yeah, I know. I do, but I don't. I do, but I don't.
She's not Zsa Zsa Gabor, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, let me get a shot at redemption here.
All right. Do you know which of these celebrities has hosted the Academy Awards a record 18 times? Well, this is dumb. Billy Crystal, Jack Benny, Bob Hope, or Johnny Carson?
Oh, obviously Billy Crystal, right? No, it's fucking probably Johnny Carson.
It is Bob Hope.
Bob fucking Hope? The man does everything for charity. I mean, what is up with the trivia questions from 1954?
I'm sorry.
Can we get out of this generation?
I don't do this. It's the book.
It's the fucking
chooses.
book. Let me get at least one win for the night. Let me try to get a third here. This tested me.
283.
I can't even remember the name of the movies we're talking about tonight, and got me thinking about Bob Hope.
Yeah, I know.
My goodness.
All right, name the mutant character who transforms and becomes a powerful figure known as the Phoenix in X-Men: The Last Stand. Well, this is easy. Wolverine, Storm, Jean Grey, or Cyclops?
Well, thank God I can get this one right. Jean Grey on this.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Well, at least I feel like I had some sort of... Oh, I thought the thing wasn't going to say no. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that one was easy.
I want to recount. All right. Well, not my night on the trivia, but it is what it is. And I was trying to think of a trivia question for you about which... Oscar-nominated actor, Oscar-winning actor has never appeared in a sequel, and then I realized it's a lot of them. You know, Nicolas Cage has never appeared in a sequel, to my knowledge. DiCaprio has not.
I don't know if that's true. Wasn't Nicolas Cage in a sequel?
What sequel was he in?
I don't know. Wasn't that a thing?
I'm not counting the Croods.
I mean, you might be right.
You know, with voice acting. I'm talking about a proper sequel. I don't believe he's ever played a character twice. I don't think.
For some reason, I thought that was broken with something, but maybe I might be wrong.
I don't think it was, unless you count playing himself, which is just odd.
Playing himself.
Which he did, in the...
I mean, you might be right. There was someone else then. There was something like that with somebody else, and but they did play themselves. But I don't know. I mean, we're supposed to be getting a face-off too, so
I'll take it. I'll take anything at this point.
I mean,
that looks like it's going to be fun and action-packed, and we'll talk about that later on in the show when we talk about the Fall Guy trailer.
They're claiming there's going to be a Lord of War sequel.
What?
This can't be have him in it though.
What?
No, yeah. Lord of War. I mean, what is this?
Of all the movies to make a sequel to,
how would you even do that?
What's next? The Weatherman 2?
I mean, I guess you could. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's get off that. All right.
Let's talk about the first movie of tonight's show, and that is the Netflix hit seen by over 26 million people. They've estimated. This is Bill Burr's directorial debut, where he stars in it, alongside Bobby Cannavale and Bokeem Woodbine, two actors I like very much, in a road comedy movie, kind of a getting...
Is it?
I guess. I mean, at points it is. There's a sequence where they go on the road together and they fish out of water kind of
for no
sequence.
reason whatsoever.
This movie wasn't... It was... Look, I watched it 2 times. And the second time I watched it,
so did I.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, is that how it's getting 26 million views? I don't know. People are watching it double times, but
well, we got 4 of them right there. So
yeah, there you go. Right, so compound that, and it did play better for me a second time. It's an easy watch. I'll give it that. I do think that it makes an interesting double feature with another Netflix original, which is You People with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy that came out last year, the Kenya Barris title. But I think that also, this movie was a bit of a lost opportunity. I thought it was going to have a little bit more of an edge, but it's, I don't know, you're almost getting into real light material here. This is Eddie Murphy light, I would say. And speaking of Eddie Murphy, the casting. As much as I like Cannavale and I like Bokeem Woodbine, always good to see him working, this movie would have been infinitely better if he had casted comedians like Eddie Murphy or Sebastian Maniscalco in those supporting roles. I mean, those are really roles that you need comedians to bring home, because I just didn't feel anything for these guys outside of the Bill Burr character. I didn't care about the other ones.
You didn't laugh out loud at the Bruce Dern character?
Okay. I mean...
Did you not think C. Thomas Howell was fucking amazing in this?
No. Did you?
No, I thought no one was really good in this. I mean, Bokeem has a moment when they're in the car and on the car trip or whatever you say that's pretty fucking good and actually kind of funny too.
And shot well. And edited
he's pretty
well.
lively in that scene. But yeah, I mean, a movie about, cutting your own balls off just so that your wife doesn't yell at you it's not very good, right? And what's the theme of this movie? Bill Burr is an asshole, but other people are assholes, but Bill Burr can't be an asshole to those people.
And learns not to be.
Like, I don't understand it. Yeah, literally the end of the movie is a guy being a fucking asshole, and Bill Burr just has to be like, oh, all right, thanks.
Do you know what it reminded?
Thanks for the tip, buddy. But what happened to that guy? What does that mean? Why does that guy get to be an asshole?
The movie lost its way. First of all, that sequence in the car is the high point of the movie to me, in terms of like the edginess of where it should have been and getting to the heart of things. And that's why I say it's a good companion piece to You People, which is fun in the same way. But this was, it just lost its bite. It really
meanders.
And I thought
the whole movie has no point, right? There's really not much of a plot here.
I thought we were going to go with like Ron Howard's Parenthood as a model, if you're doing the dramedy thing, but really it's not. It's just a soft pedal romantic comedy.
They just go around they lose their fucking jobs. They just go through all this shit and they don't really get anything back for it, right? They don't get their jobs back. They don't get the company back. They don't do anything. There's just nothing for them to do other than to learn that you guys are assholes and you gotta stop being assholes. And everybody else gets to be an asshole. And no matter how much that bothers you, too bad. That's the whole movie.
Have you ever heard Quentin Tarantino break down the difference between Chevy Chase movies and Bill Murray movies and why he prefers Chevy Chase? You ever hear that?
Yeah.
Because Chevy Chase movies, he's an asshole at the beginning, he's an asshole at the end. And Bill Murray,
Yeah.
he always changes. His characters have
He
been changed.
learns,
Yeah, exactly.
right.
And it's kind of what I was hoping for in this character. And it's not what I got. I got the Bill Murray version of this. And that's fine in terms of the screenwriting and in the formula of what they were trying to do. But I was just expecting a little hard edge.
You could have made that way better if you're going to do that. Like, the movie itself, the entire universe is against Bill Burr, and he's right. His rants and his raves in this, he's not wrong. But there's literally a moment where he goes on a rave and then a rant, and he turns to these guys and says, "Am I right?" And they go, "No." And it's like, no, he is fucking right.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like, what are you talking about? And how is that rant that he goes on any different than what the guy tells him at the end? He's basically saying these kids on these scooters running stop signs are going to get themselves killed, right? And the guy at the end tells him, "Hey, don't play baseball with your baby strapped to your chest, right? You're going to hurt the kid, maybe." What's the fucking difference? Like, I'm lost on this movie. The way this movie's poorly written and just poorly executed. It's just not a very good movie, but it's an easy watch, like you say. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
It reminds me of what would happen if they had tried to make City Slickers today. This is exactly what the tone would be like. And if you want to watch something that is not that edgy but would seem edgier today, is City Slickers, and it's not. I mean, it just... because the guy stands up to the overbearing wife and the father-in-law, the Daniel Stern character. And today, I don't know if that character would be allowed to make those choices. But that's just the screenwriting of today. And
well, Bill Burr wrote this, so
yeah, I know, but it also has to
and
go
he directed it. So
through a lot of stuff at Netflix. Although I don't know how hands off they are, because it seems like they are pretty hands off with a lot of quote unquote artists.
It was all his stuff, his comedy and bits and everything. It was just him in this. It was just the rest of the movie that made no sense, right?
He also needed other comedic talent to work off of. He's a one-man show here.
I agree with you. I mean, yeah, you can throw Natasha Leggett or whatever her name is in all these movies like they always do, but she's always only in it for 2 seconds and she's not very funny.
Yeah, she's wildly overused in these movies, in my opinion.
They always throw her in as a little bit part. Feel bad for her. Like, give her a real role.
Yeah, not my favorite person on this. All right, let's move on and talk about another Netflix movie. What else have we both seen here on this list? Five Nights at Freddy's. This is actually not a Netflix movie. This is a Peacock movie. It's also the number one film in the land for the last couple weeks, opening with an $80 million opening, and open higher than the last Marvel movie. And
it died quickly, though.
It did, but still, for a day-and-date movie, this is a pretty substantial opening. But outside of that, let's get away from the business and talk about the movie itself. I gotta say, having no interest in the video game or anything to do with this, I like this movie. I surprisingly got into this movie. And I know that it's campy. The kills are the least interesting part to me. The 30 minutes leading up to the first kill, the 40 minutes or so, I was actually kind of into the story. I like the nods to the 80s, having Mary Elizabeth Masterson as the aunt, playing the aunt trying to take the sister away. The little nods to Chuck E. Cheese, obviously, and all those little touches in there. I don't know the game. I don't know the Easter eggs that are happening all over the place. But I know what I saw. Josh Hutcherson is a solid leading man. He's... Strangely, it took this movie for me to accept him as a leading man. And I would welcome, I guess, more of these. And it looks like there's going to be quite a few more. But you're a horror aficionado. Give it to me straight.
Did you see Willy's Wonderland?
I didn't see
the
that.
Nicolas Cage version of this?
No.
Yeah, you got to watch that before you try to tell me this is a good rendition of this. Look, this was made apparently for the fans of this. I understand why this is the way it is. But this has nothing to do with the actual game itself. This is like all the lore and the setup of everything. And I don't know. I think it's boring as shit, to be honest with you. You enjoyed it, but I would ask you why. He just tries to dream, and it doesn't do anything. He tries to find his brother who was stolen from him, but now... Where's the brother at the end of this? What happened to the kid?
I guess I was expecting so
you
little.
Don't know
that getting anything of any sort of substance.
The movie doesn't do anything. This movie sets up a franchise, right? I mean, literally, that's what it does. It doesn't end. It just says there will be more. Don't worry about it. Like, we're just gonna make all this nonsense stuff. It barely has anything to do with the Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Freddy's is not really in this very much. So I just didn't understand. I guess I don't get how this is interesting in any way. But for the same reason that you liked it, fans of it liked it for that same reason, I guess, because they wanted that lore and the backstory, which is why this had such a huge fall off once those people saw it, and obviously can watch it streaming. Probably didn't help them in theaters there either. They were, nobody else has any interest in this, and I don't blame them. This doesn't have a very high rating on a lot of things. The IMDb rating is 5.5 out of 10.
Well, 'cause it's not scary. I mean, if you're a 9-year-old, this might be the scariest movie you've ever seen.
That's what I mean.
But
this is definitely made for a certain group of people. Well, I don't know about 9-year-olds going to see this. They can go see this, but I think this game's old enough that the people going to see this are pretty old.
Well, I also think that the nods in it are to people our generation or, even younger here, because it's a lot of 80s, 90s nods and the music, talking in your sleep and all. But the animatronics are awful in this. I mean, that's the worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
And
Watch Willy's Wonderland. Okay. Not only is Nicolas Cage fucking badass in that movie, but it doesn't fuck around with all this other shit. And it's... I don't know. I just thought it was a lot more fun. It definitely alludes to things more than gives you this whole bullshit this kid just falling asleep all the time, trying to sleep.
He is a dozy little twat, isn't he? I mean, fuck. He can't keep his eyes open.
That's the whole fucking movie is just I gotta sleep. He takes pills and all this shit. I gotta sleep in my dreams. It's what the fuck does that have to do with Five Nights at Freddy's? I don't know if it's all ghost shit. It's just fucking. It's too much. For me, I thought this is a hard pill to swallow.
I think that's why I liked it, because I didn't think it was going to be. I thought it would be very, very thin, and they actually overstuffed it here. Kind of like what happened. I know it's wildly different in tone, but what I was expecting was very little from the movie Silent Hill, and then when I got that movie, I thought that was much deeper and more professionally done than I thought it had any right to be.
But I would say that is way better.
Of course,
than this.
yeah.
The Resident Evil movies, I think, are better than this if you're going to go through that type of a thing. But this is probably... I don't know. Look, there's fucking books. Five Nights at Freddy's is huge. So if you're going to get into the lore of it, I don't know any of that shit because I don't have time for this. I don't like it that much, I also wasn't young enough when this came out, as a game to give a shit. But yeah, there's fucking books and there's all kinds of shit. So I can only imagine that people are going to come back from when they keep making these. They're probably still going to make a decent amount of money on opening weekend.
Yeah, well, and also I think the next one is not going to come to streaming. They're going to go straight to the theatrical because of the wild success this one's having.
This one did both, but this one was both at the same time, to be fair.
Yeah, it was.
So this was
simultaneous.
Yeah, so it didn't just come to stream, but I don't blame them for not doing it. It was kind of dumb at this point. But who would know, right? Who would have a fucking clue? But yeah, you probably have a much better drop off had it not been available just streaming, because I bet you plenty of people would have gone back and seen this again.
I wonder, because I know teenagers that have now seen this 3-4 times, and so it's resonating with them for some reason somehow. And I've only heard...
They probably know about the games, and they probably... people like all that kind of weird shit. That was like creepypasta stuff, and just weird shit that was on the internet for a long time, scary stories and things, but they're how'd you put it? We had Are You Afraid of the Dark as a TV show, and things like that. Things that were for kids, but it were still scary, like R.L. Stine stuff, Shit like that, that's still around and still does gangbusters today, because I think kids still want to be scared and stuff, but they might not necessarily be, ready for the adult stuff. I don't know.
I wonder if this is going to hold up for them. If this is going to be a fun, because this obviously can't be.
I think it is. But like I say, there's already a huge, there's already a big amount of ancillary stories and things that people are selling for this more than just the game, like built on top of it. So I think you could make a couple more movies out of this, and they would probably still come see it. What other thing do you know that where they've had like books and shit like this?
Not
So I said
many.
like
Yeah.
R.L. Stein shit, you know.
This is kind of its own. Goosebumps would be the closest thing, which they're rebooting, obviously on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah, and it would be though. Wouldn't you? I have to agree. It's fairly tame in that sense, but it still has the ghost aspect
It's
to it.
homogenized.
The things that come alive and do that, and they're dealing with other things other than just the horror aspect of it, right? They have a whole story that's separate to that. You know, it's awfully adult, like that part of it. So I don't know.
Well, even the kidnapping, I thought this is a little heavy for children.
That's what I mean,
you know?
because I don't know. It's a weird ending too, because I didn't think. I will say that I don't. Is that a twist ending?
It tries to be.
I mean, I'm like the Matthew Lillard reveal. Is that kind of a
Matthew
twist ending?
Lillard, by the way, thank you for bringing this up, actually is the only one really on the vibe of where I thought this movie should be. You know, like in terms of his acting and what he was doing. I thought Matthew Lillard gave his best performance he's given in a long fucking time.
But is it because did you think that the yellow bunny was dead, or do you think it was alive?
I guess I did. I thought it was dead.
That's what I thought too. So it was interesting when it turned out to be just a man.
Yeah, I mean,
because I thought he was already dead and was a ghost that would like come back to them or whatever.
yeah.
Otherwise, and so I'll put this out there: if it's just the guy, and how is he controlling how did he know that that the ghost would stick around if he killed the kids? And
Way
this
too
part
much
makes no
logic
sense
you're
to me at all.
applying to this movie. You've gone one step down.
But shouldn't there be something mystical? Because the daughter is like, oh, he has this pole over them, like this hold, and they do what he says. It's like, how do they know what he says to do? Like, he has to come show up, right, and tell them what to do, and they just do shit.
He programs
It's
them?
fucking weird. The whole thing with the story, yeah, with the stories and like with the pictures and things, and like the one girl drew like a picture of the movie. You see it? Isn't that weird? I just thought that was so fucking like, I don't know. I just thought that was weak.
Well, it's not a fucking barn burner solid movie. It's just better than I thought it was going to be. So I give it a moderate recommendation. Trevor sounds like he gives it a moderate non-recommendation. So we're not that far apart of this movie.
If you know that you're going to like this movie, you already know, I think.
Although I didn't think I would, and I was pleasantly surprised on it because it's not a hard watch.
That's true. I meant if you were a fan. Specifically, this is made for fans, I guess, is what I meant. But yeah, you're right.
All right, let's move on and talk about the DC film Blue Beetle. This will be premiering on HBO Max sometime on November 17th. So it'd be widely available for you to check it out. It was originally supposed to be an HBO Max product before they threw it out into theaters late last summer. It did have respectable domestic gross for what it was. And I don't know why, because I'm watching this movie, and as well as it's technically made, I don't see how this survived the axing that Batgirl got. You know, that never came to screen because it was a tax write-off, much like they're just doing.
Or anything else,
yeah. With Wile E. Coyote movie that they just announced.
Scooby-Doo stuff, the Wile E. Coyote
Yeah, 2 or 3
stuff,
movies now. How this made it
Interesting.
to the screen, and why, of all characters, this guy, whatever this fucking kid's name is here, Jaime in the movie here, why he's going to be part of the extended DC universe going forward, because nothing about this movie, save the special effects, which are now very common in these things, were particularly interesting. Did you find anything to latch onto?
No, this is the poor man's Spider-Man, right? I mean, he's just Peter Parker. That's what he has, the one-liners. He's a fun kid guy. Doing superhero things.
Well, they try to tie it on to Batman's world because he's going to Gotham Law School. So there's some tie-in to...
That's just the DC stuff. This is Spider-Man. There's no question about it, right? It takes place... They're scientists, whatever guys. The thing gets back. It's a blue beetle that basically, bites him. It attaches into his back, but it's basically just like a spider that bites him.
What's
right?
this Scarab?
It's damn near literally Spider-Man. Yeah, the scarab. I know it's just so generic. Susan Sarandon is just a joke in this. I don't even know why she's cast, or why she would agree to do it other than the paycheck. George Lopez just feels like just playing second fiddle. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's
feels
just running around doing
perfunctory
other
in this
stuff.
movie, and for no reason.
Why is he so smart in this shit? Like, it's so weird.
And the thing is, too, this smart cracking kid who's supposed to be ultra likable as well isn't all that likable in this movie. I didn't think the stakes
they don't give him
were
anything to do.
that high, to be honest. So what? The parents get their house back. I mean, that's okay. You know what it reminded me of?
Well, the dad dies, right? Doesn't he? So
it's
just
very
like,
Spider-Man.
I mean, it's literally Spider-Man. I mean, you can't deny it. But it's just, you're right. There's like no stakes. I don't care about any of the people. I really didn't like the family. I get like the family thing, and they were all together, but it doesn't make any sense. It becomes the Blue Beetle, and the family's just like joking about it, like, "Oh, what's going on?" Haha. And it's supposed to be fun. Like, it's too fun, almost. Like, it can't. There's nothing serious about the movie. It makes no sense.
I just didn't, like I said, I couldn't figure out what the end game was here for, what these characters ultimately wanted, other than thwarting a bad guy. But the father's gone
He's
already.
He's just a superhero now. He's just a superhero.
Yeah,
I get to be a superhero.
Alberto's gone. The dad's gone.
It's weird.
And
he doesn't struggle with it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no struggle.
I'm sure that was
Isn't
cut
that weird?
down. That feels like that was a studio cut down, because this movie
cut down. The movie's 2 hours long.
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, and I'm telling you that there feels like there were scenes cut out of this already.
I'll guarantee you there were. That's every movie, though.
But I mean significant chunks, because, like you said,
especially today,
they wrap things up
still
pretty
today.
damn
That's every
quickly.
fucking movie. Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's whole like aftermath. All of a sudden, the girl's the new CEO, and she's gonna fix all the damage that's ever been caused to them. And then all the neighbors gather around, and you're like, well, this is rushed. It's a bizarre kind of tacked on.
The whole movie's like that, though. The whole movie is very rushed. I felt like, to me, like everyone just goes with everything, and that's it. Like, why are they so smart? I still don't understand why they're all so smart. Why does the George Lopez character have like a fucking giant beetle thing that he drives around?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Like, what is that?
A bad choice.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't pay 100% attention to this movie because it is boring as shit, but there's some weird stuff in here. I was just like, what is going on?
Well, the special effects reminded me of something like Spawn, where he could do fantastical shit, with the sword and all sorts of stuff he wanted to do, which was cool. All that is really well done, as to be expected. But the relationship with the uncle was not. I just kept thinking that the uncle was the one that was going to die and not the father, because that's the whole Spider-Man thing. But Susan Sarandon as the bad CEO, and and the sister of this guy who just wants this scarab, and it doesn't matter. None of this fucking matters, and they don't make anything for you to latch onto. There's nobody to care about in this movie. The color palette's cool, is all I can say. It really reminded me of such bad DC efforts as Steel, the Shaquille O'Neal one that came out in the late 90s, with at least that had not C. Thomas Howell, but who's your other boy from the Rat Pack there, Judd Nelson as the bad guy, who was up against Shaq, and at least Judd Nelson was bringing some energy to that movie, whereas nobody here I don't know, George Lopez of all people, I thought he would be the live wire. He's just kind of in it. He doesn't do anything that's remarkable. He's not really the comedic interest.
I think he does a lot that's remarkable. I just don't know why.
Well, I mean, in terms
how he's able to do it.
Him being in the movie, this could have been played by anybody. Why George Lopez? It's just perfunctory because he's a fucking name, and he's a Hispanic actor. So
there are moments. I think this movie. There are moments this movie reminded me of like Spy Kids and shit like that, with like the family stuff. Because all of a sudden the family is like all together with it, like the grandma's shooting everybody up and shit.
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of spy type shit going on here too. Yeah,
like
so like James
the grandma's
Bond.
got the gat.
Yeah.
She's just knocking everybody out. Like, there's a lot you didn't know about grandma or whatever. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this like Spy Kids all of a sudden? Everyone's like a superhero you didn't know about. You didn't know your whole family was superheroes.
In fact, Fucking Antonio Banderas should have been the uncle, not George Lopez. I would have bought him as the intelligent one a little bit more.
I thought this is a weird movie.
It's just...
The more I think about it, it's just weird, man.
I hate to keep using this term, but misguided. And I feel like a lot of these projects, the fingerprints are all over them from different... I don't know if it's different regimes at the studio or what, but it just seems like maybe this was saved in the edit or they changed it in the edit, but I feel like there was a lot of connective tissue and extra scenes, and this thing probably clocked in at close to 3 hours, and they said, fuck this, let's start cutting. Doesn't
every movie do that now?
Yeah. And those are the ones that are released theatrically.
I thought that's how they made them now. Yeah, and then they cut a bunch of shit out. Isn't that what they just do? Just shoot everything?
Yeah.
Decide later?
It's really remarkable when a movie is now under 2 hours. It's, earn those minutes, people.
It's great.
Yeah, earn those minutes. It really is.
I love it.
All right, let's move on and talk about Sly. I got to talk to you about the Sylvester Stallone documentary that was on the Netflix top 10 for a few days there. Still very popular, though. I think it's getting really good reviews as well. Premiered at the New York Film Festival and a couple other places last summer, and now is widely available for everyone to see. And I've seen this thing 2.5 times now. I knew that I was going to probably like it, although I consider myself a bit of a historian on the man. I know a lot of random details on his life, but hearing him in his own voice, and I gotta say, I didn't feel the protected veneer. I mean, obviously these guys all have it, but I didn't feel as much as I did when I watched the Schwarzenegger doc. I feel like Stallone was being a little bit more honest about his failures and things that had happened. And now, having said that, he grazes past. We don't talk about the divorces. We don't talk about his one son who's autistic. There's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about. He can get a divorce last year and then rekindling with his wife. A lot of that's moved past. But as a fan of the films and of the man and of the story and of the legend and the icon, it's fucking fantastic. There is so much shit in here. There's shots of his scripts and his diaries. I gotta pause this thing. I keep telling myself I'm gonna go back and just read it line for line what they have on screen because it's access to his personal archives and all sorts of shit and just just really, really interesting stuff. And they have key interviews by Schwarzenegger, by Quentin Tarantino, John Herzfeld, who is his buddy and also a filmmaker, his brother. I mean, all sorts of people are in this, but it's the interviews with Stallone and what he's saying and the way he says it, and it ends on such a pitch-perfect note that honestly, I wish there was a sequel coming. I wish we could get more of these. I'm kind of mad we only get 90 minutes of this. I want more. I want more layers peeled back. And I don't know. Do you have any plan to watch this? Are you interested in this at all?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this one. This one looked way better. I didn't watch the Schwarzenegger one. I pretty much know everything that's in there, and it didn't look very interesting. This one looks a lot better.
I think it's a little bit the Schwarzenegger one was 3 50-minute episodes or so, and it was the bodybuilding, the acting, the political career. Yeah. And, however you feel about them, you might like 1 or 2 or maybe even all 3 of those episodes, but they did get a little heavy-handed and long in the tooth, whereas this was... every minute of it, I was just thinking, oh, no, we're getting closer to the end of it. I never want it to end. When he starts talking about his son, starts talking about making Rocky 5, all this stuff, and for a hardcore fan like me, I wish I could hear him break down every single fucking movie he's ever been in and tell me all the backstories about him. I would love to hear him from even the misfires, but that's not what we're ever going to get. And this is the fucking closest thing I'm ever going to get to hearing this about it or that about it. So a big recommendation for me, obviously. Not surprising, I don't think, to anybody that follows the show that I'm recommending a Stallone podcast or a Stallone documentary. But I think that if you had the choice to watch Expendables 4 or this, do yourself a favor and pass on Expendables 4 and watch this. Not to beat a dead horse.
Well, I'll probably watch both. But.
Yeah, as you should. Okay. But this first, because this really is worth your time, and it's not dull at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Tell me what you've seen that I haven't seen. I want to say you've seen the Spanish horror film. Is it Spanish? I know it comes from a different land. Where does this horror film come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember what I mean, yes, it's like Spanish. I don't remember what country it was in now.
So it's subtitled.
But it's When Evil Lurks. Everyone's raving about this, and it's fucking good. It's foreboding as all shit, yeah. And it is a slow burn, but for me, I was locked in on this. I was like, oh my god, it is nuts. Like, the special effects are fantastic in this, and there are moments, literally, that I did not expect them to go where they went for some of it. Even though you kind of do, but they never do in any horror movies. They do in this. They go there, and I'm not telling you what it is. I'm not giving it away, but it's a great movie. So the whole thing is about people have this sickness. They get infected, but it's demons, right? Infect them, and then they have to have like a special person come out and get rid of the demons or whatever. And it's just normal life, so it's not, some dystopian future thing where there's demons everywhere and they have to stop. It's just like The Exorcist type shit, And so in the cities, they would have this happen all the time. Then it wreaks havoc. Basically the evil can do its thing and get out and kill people. And so these guys are out in the country. There's this big, ugly, infected guy, and the guy who was supposed to come get them is killed, or supposed to come get the evil out of him is killed. And so these guys live around there, have to figure out what the hell they're going to do, and they decide to move the body, and basically all hell breaks loose, from that. And they just travel around trying to stop it. It's really good. Honestly, I don't recommend horror to a lot of people because, tastes differ, but this is really good.
Well, I heard a counter argument from somebody that saw it recently, and they were telling me that it was too much of a slow burn for them. And
it is a slow burn. That's fair enough.
And they were really thrown off by the fact that all of a sudden everybody knew the rules associated with possession and things like that it was hard to believe that these people were so adept at knowing the knowledge and having the knowledge.
I would argue that's incorrect.
Okay. That's fair. I haven't seen it.
I would argue that's incorrect. So the people who do know those things, it makes sense that they know them, and they're introduced in such a way. I'll give you one of them towards the end. I'd give you, but they do set up that a little bit, and they kind of don't just make it. So they totally come out of the blue, but I don't know. These people all exist in rural areas and stuff, and so they're it's different, I guess, in the city, but it's like tales handed down over time. Like the grandma in this is telling the kid about, this is like what you don't do, like with these things. Here are the rules, and she explains the rules. But it's like, like I said, it's like a tale that they would have in some, I don't know, other country, and they would give it like a fairy tale or an old wives' tale or shit like that, So it's not explained in such a way as, how does everyone know about this? Well, a lot of people know about it. They don't believe it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I trust your opinion much more than him.
I disagree with that one, but they're right on the slow burn part. It's a slow burn, but I really liked it.
Well, when you say foreboding,
it's like foreboding.
Those are my kind of movies.
And you can feel like it's tense. For me, it was anyways. And it keeps riding that tension until finally something happens and it delivers. That's the thing I think I like about this most. When you get into horror movies, you can get into those movies that just want to do all the tension. They just want to rev you up, and then they don't pull through. They don't go through with the thing. And this movie does every single time. So I don't know. I thought this was really good.
All right.
And plus, for how slow it is, I'll tell you this, for most horror movies, you don't really like the people in it. You don't really feel like you get to know them or feel like you're going on a journey with them. And in this movie, you do. And it has a really slow first act, but you do get to know the two guys, and the acting's great as well. I don't know. I thought this was a really good
It
movie.
sounds like a strong recommendation from you.
I would say yes.
I'm going to have to check it out because I don't usually watch a lot of horror films, but when you recommend one highly, I do try to check it out because I like your taste on these for the most part. The foreboding movies, the ones that have this rising tension, sometimes they backfire. I wasn't a big fan of Hereditary, something like that.
Neither was I. I didn't like Hereditary either. So, I mean, this is like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, like not only in his prime, but just like he's fucking lost his mind.
You know, I'm curious now.
You know what I mean? Like, you know how he can build like for even for his failures, you get the idea that he's going for.
Well,
what
like
he's
The
trying
Village,
to do.
even.
And this one, yeah. Well, any of them, even old. Like I get the idea of it. It's not a very good movie, and he fails miserably in it. But I understand the idea of what he's trying to do and what he's trying to create, and this movie is able to do that.
I'm going to definitely check it out. Where'd you see it at? Is it streaming right now?
It's streaming on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
So you'd have to get Shudder, or if you have AMC Plus, you have you pay for cable, so you might have AMC Plus.
I do still pay for cable. I can't believe. I think I'm like the only person left in America that's doing it.
If you have, yeah, if you do get the AMC Plus with your cable or whatever, then you'll get Shudder as well.
You have to check that out because I do want to see Willy's Wonderland, which I think is on Hulu right now.
You should watch Willy's Wonderland.
I'll check it out.
That's another highlight. I'll recommend that to everyone too. Watch Willy's Wonderland.
Well, anything with Nicolas Cage, I'll give it a shot to.
And it's got Nicolas Cage in it. Yeah, and he's being weird. They're like, just be fucking
Or is he
weird.
just being Nicolas Cage?
He doesn't speak. He doesn't speak a single line of
and
dialogue.
He's probably a
Whole
master
movie.
thespian.
Watch the movie.
I will, absolutely.
Oh yeah, he just look at him. You're just like, oh my god, this guy's gonna fuck some shit.
I love it. I think I told you, I don't know who's booking the local theater over here, but we've had a slew of Nicolas Cage movies come play for like a week there. Butcher's Crossing, The Old Way. I mean, what was the Retirement Plan played there recently? So I think even Sympathy for the Devil. So whoever's booking over there clearly has a deal with either Saban Films or likes Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some trailers because I'm excited to talk about a few of these. But the first one I want to start off with is probably the most anticipated of the bunch, and that is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, because this is the one that I think is going to take the most heat because it's coming out in theaters. I believe it's coming out this holiday season. It's still coming out the holiday season, or they push it back to next year? Maybe next year at this point, next summer. I didn't see a release date tag on this, but however, this is the second in this new
release date, March 29th.
Okay, so it's pushed back to next year. I hate, no pun intended, I didn't feel any heat coming from this. I don't know what this is. I like that they started off with the Cruel Summer song and it had a cool vibe to it, and then it went along, and the second the Ghostbusters thing was introduced, I remembered, oh, I don't get the Ghostbusters, I get these kids and Paul Rudd, who I like, but I don't give a fuck about anybody in this movie. Well, this trailer gives me no reason to give a shit or get invested in this on any level. I'm mystified at why we have this, why this exists, and with each one of these things that keep coming up, I think that 2016 version with the ladies there looks better and better and more in keeping. Yeah, I was going to say more in keeping with what came before, and this now is very off. I mean, it's so. First of all, why is it so dense? This doesn't look fun.
They're trying to turn this into. They're trying to create a mythos around this so they can create a franchise, right? I don't understand how people, any true fan of the original Ghostbusters movies, will reject that 2016 one. It does kind of feel like it's because they're women, which is odd because I reject many other things because they're women, but no.
But not that.
Not that one, yeah. No, we dislike things because they're not good, not because you throw a bunch of women in them. And that one was pretty good. It was like a Ghostbusters movie. And these Ghostbusters movies these new ones, Afterlife, whatever the fuck, terrible fucking titles. Really, Afterlife and Frozen Empire.
Yeah, it's real bad.
These don't feel like they're for the original Ghostbusters fans at all. Like, not even a little bit. They feel like they are big 2020 movies with a lot of special effects, and you throw some kids in there, get the kid from
Stranger Things there.
Stranger Things, get Finn Wolfhard in there, and have the originals in there, and Patton Oswalt just for good fun. Why does everyone not like Patton Oswalt in this movie? That's the one thing I don't understand. Like, that's what you're going to focus on?
That's the least offensive thing in the movie.
Like, there's nothing. Yeah, this movie does not feel magical to me, even though it's telling me, don't you call it Ghostbusters? You like Ghostbusters, right? Come on, you like it.
What I noticed in this trailer...
I hate movies like that. It feels like a fan movie again. Just like the Afterlife
when they
one.
showed the Ghostbusters headquarters being frozen and they have that piano riff for a second, I realized how it didn't land as much as the piano riff in the Maverick trailer landed. It's like the complete opposite. This has no impact for me whatsoever. And I'm a huge fan of those first two Ghostbusters movies. I mean, I love them. And these are the most inconsequential and unnecessary sequels that I can think of.
The comedy's totally different. The storylines are it's too different, and you could do other ghost things. I'm so sick of the franchise mentality of all this stuff, and people who complain about it but then will eat this type of stuff up. Like, you don't see this happening here?
Well, it's not interesting. There's no character here to get behind. That's why they didn't actually show you any characters.
That's what I mean. There's no point to make this other than to make a bunch of them.
Yeah, true. Let's move on, because I don't even want to waste any more time talking about that fucking trailer. Let's talk about Rebel Moon. This is Zack Snyder's Netflix offering $200 million, part one, Child of the Fallen or some shit subtitled here.
Yeah, Child of Fire.
There you go. An awful subtitle as well, along with Frozen Empire. Yeah. But I gotta say that I didn't think I was gonna like this trailer, and by the time it was over, I'm a little bit more interested in this than I thought I would be, and this looks pretty fucking good.
Can we actually talk about why this is a poorly cut trailer? This is fucking terrible trailer. But the scenes like this, the end of this, the first half of this trailer feels like, oh, what is this? And then there's a scene that first half ends with her, beating the guys to show up and fighting them, which looks fucking terrible. But then when they go off planet and they start fucking around doing all this other stuff, and you see these other characters, it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, when Charlie Hunnam gets involved, and there's a lot more. She's touching this robot, and there's all sorts of slow motion Zack Snyder.
Digimon
Hussein
is it? Yeah,
it's fucking.
It looks awesome.
It does look like she's collecting.
I was like, ooh, this looks
rogues gallery of characters.
Good. And I like the Sophia Boutella, whatever her name is. She's good in roles like this.
She's solid, yeah.
Where she's going to be a little more physical and stuff. She's great in these types of roles. So, yeah, I like you say, I felt the same way. But I think this trailer is just poorly cut. Am I wrong? We'll have to see the movie, but this is a shit trailer.
I didn't mind how it was cut so much as when I was watching it, I felt like, well, at least it landed at the end. It had the weight of a real trailer you would have seen in a theater, I felt like.
But it's just a bunch of images cut together at the end.
Damn, those are nice images.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I don't care. They're beautiful.
That's just, I don't care.
They're beautiful.
Well, you might care when you're watching this 2-hour long fucking movie.
It's probably going to be 2.5, 3 hours long, let's be honest.
But doesn't it remind you of some Wachowski stuff?
I'm so glad you said that.
That's what it reminded me to
Thank you for saying that.
Doesn't it?
Trevor, I was going to say this.
It feels just like some of their later stuff.
Best case scenario, we're going to get some 300 meets Star Wars. At worst case, we're getting some Jupiter Ascending shit here. I don't know what we're getting.
No, but it kind of looks, well, they had some other better stuff, but it does I know, it does look Jupiter Ascending. What's the other one with Tom Hanks?
Yeah, Cloud Atlas.
What is that shit? Cloud Atlas. It does remind me of that too, especially with all the running around. And because things look so fucking different from shot to shot towards the end of this, you're like, how the fuck did they get there? What's that? Who's this? Is this all from this part one, or is this going to be part two as well? Because this trailer is fucking makes no sense.
And Snyder then confuses even more and says this is a prequel to Army of the Dead. So it's in the same universe, he's saying. So what the fuck? Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. I guess everything. Why not making this? It's the same universe as Ghostbusters, huh? All right.
But I'm intrigued. I gotta say, I'm way more intrigued than I thought I was going to be, and I'm glad that we get something worthwhile during this Christmas season because the calendar is very slim pickings in terms of theatrical releases.
And it'll be streaming, so which is, I think, even better for them. They might want to, align themselves if they're going to spend this amount of money on these fucking movies like this. Releasing them in this time frame is a good idea.
Yeah, look what happened with Don't Look Now. I mean, everybody watched that because they were home. It was Christmas. It's a big release that should be released in theaters. I think it's a fantastic move. Okay, let's talk about the next trailer, which is The Fall Guy. Ryan Gosling doing the action hero, action romantic comedy. This looks like... at first, let me start off. First, when it started, I thought, okay, is this going to be a remake of Hooper, the Burt Reynolds film? He made with Hal Needham.
It was a TV show.
I know, but I thought the vibe they were going for was Hooper. But I know it's The Fall Guy with Lee Majors, and I watched that as a kid with Heather Locklear and the whole thing. I liked that show, even the theme song.
This isn't quite that. This is like a Baywatch-esque version of that.
This actually plays. This trailer plays.
Yeah,
the story, the concept for the story works.
Well, maybe because of the director,
but as
I think.
It's going, I thought, this is what you and I, when we saw The Lost City, and we had the Brad Pitt character kind of came in and stole the show for 20 minutes, and we said, I wish we were going with that character or doing something with that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like to me. That they kind of said... I don't know. The whole concept of it from this trailer alone works, and I'm very excited to see this movie.
Well, look, I have not disliked David Leitch, or whatever the hell I say his name.
I think it's Leitch. Yeah, might be right.
Well, it's Leitch.
I don't know.
But I tell you what, I've not disliked a movie that he's directed yet. So I'm all in for this, and it's right up his alley. Obviously, former stuntman himself. And yeah, it's just this movie looks like fucking fun,
pure
doesn't
fun
it?
and funny. Good chemistry between Blunt and Gosling there as well, and it looks like it's going to have some decent action on top of it. So,
what's interesting, this, because this was, I think, like a Martin Campbell was going to make this at one point, and then they had said. After that it was going to be McGee and it was going to star The Rock. So this is way fucking better than any of that.
This iteration seems like it's going to work. And with Gosling on a hot streak right now, I think that this will draw even more people to go see this. So I think this could have the possibility of being a franchise out of nowhere, Fall Guy 2 and 3. But if the story by Drew Pearce and the screenplay also by Drew Pearce is as good as this trailer is letting on to be, then I think we're in good hands here. And the last David Leitch movie that came out, Bullet Train, I thought the trailer of that sucked, and I was, both you and I waited till that was on streaming to catch, and both of us put that on our top of the last year list. So
yeah, I enjoyed.
Yeah, so did I. Surprisingly, yeah.
So I think this will be a lot of fun like that. A lot of great stunts, a lot of great action work, as you can see in this, and it looks beautiful. His movies are shot to look fantastic, and they look like they don't look modern day. They're slick and sleek like modern day movies, but they look more like 90s, 2000s.
Which give them a certain grandeur.
Like
doesn't it make them look bigger? Yeah.
Yes.
I think so too.
The color palettes that he uses and things are just very different than what a lot of movies use today. They're still stark and they're still colorful and things, but there's a lot of the muted stuff and a lot of more warmish tones throughout the entirety of frames, especially in this.
Fucking tobacco filters on there where it just looks beautiful. That sun-drenched look. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of less a lot of his other stuff is a little darker, as in like nighttime, takes place at night. This is like broad daylight for a lot of it. So,
and obviously a good fit for him being a stuntman, like you said, and looks like this could be, I think, a potential franchise starter. So, to mark my words here, big hit. But at least this first one looks like it'll be, at least. I mean, they could do a lot of things with the next one. They could pair him with another guy. It's a buddy cop thing. So him and this other stuntman
John Wick.
Be buddies.
John Wick and the Fall Guy.
There you go. I still haven't seen John Wick 4. I am so embarrassed about that. I gotta check that fucking thing out. I keep falling asleep. I cannot get through it. I know. I
You
put it
can't
on
get
too late.
through it.
It's too dense. I start falling asleep. Problem is this.
It's a long one,
3 hours
yeah.
long.
It's a rough
so
one.
it's I can watch it in 20-minute increments before I fall asleep.
It is, and it's never ending. Like, it just goes on and on for an ending that you're like, Jesus, we could have just fucking did that. And there's actually like a whole sequence before the ending where he's fighting people going up the stairs to get to the fucking place, and they're like long stairs. And it's just like, holy shit. He just keeps like beating this bad guy, and he gets fucking up the stairs a little bit, and it's fucking another dude. It's like, oh my
But
God.
a beautifully shot movie. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
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 All right, last trailer for the night. Let's talk here about Mean Girls. I know this is your favorite of the night, so you wanted to discuss it. And I'm
Mean
going.
Girls. No, bad CGI
you're right.
Gator.
Bad CGI Gator. But let's talk about the Mean Girls.
I don't care about
Let's
Mean
talk about
Girls.
this briefly, because I needed you to describe this to me, because I didn't understand what the fuck this trailer was. And you had a perfect analogy. Please explain on air.
Well, it's like Little Shop of Horrors. You know, the movie existed, and then it was a musical, and then Roger Corman made that turned the musical into a movie again that everyone loves. And so that's what they did with Mean Girls. Apparently, it was a movie, then it was a musical, and they took the musical and they've made it into a movie. But it's obviously too soon, is it not? Like, the first one's a really good movie. For Little Shop of Horrors, the first Little Shop of Horrors movie, nobody likes it. So that the musical of that is the one that everyone likes. But this trailer there's no like music in it. It actually tries to fool you into thinking that it's not a musical.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was a musical until the end.
So I don't get it. Yeah, I'm so confused by this whole thing. I think it's going to be a bomb to some degree. I think people who will show up to some degree because they're going to obviously have fans who just, their life is being a fan. I don't know. It's not how it is nowadays. Let's just say I'm a fan
But
of
is
this.
Mean Girls still acceptable? Isn't that bullying now? I mean, isn't that like not? Wouldn't that be out of fashion? I thought that.
That's the point of the movie.
I thought the whole fucking thing was out of fashion now. The whole.
Well, no, because there's a lot of bullying that still happens today, right? And they all talk about bullying. So I mean, it's like, it's not for bullying. It's like against it, right?
The movie was 20 years old, and I thought that it wasn't a classic by any means, but I thought it was at least a nice reminder of the 80s movies we got.
It is a classic.
Really?
I disagree.
Do you
It's
like
a
it that much?
classic.
I never liked it that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. Lindsay Lohan in her prime.
Yeah. I don't argue with you on that. And Rachel McAdams in her prime, too.
Rachel McAdams and what's her name?
Was it Lacey Cuthbert?
You know. Oh, God. She is in that. But no, I mean, what's her name? The fucking writer.
No, Tina Fey.
Fucking Liz Lemon, thank you.
Sarah Paulin.
I can remember her fake name, but not her real name. Yeah, Tina Fey, and it's a good Tina Fey. I don't know what this is. Tina Fey's in this one, too, so.
Yeah, I think she wrote this one as well. Or, of course, she wrote the original, so of course she wrote this one.
Well,
yeah.
right, yeah, so who knows?
Looks like Tim Meadows is back, too.
I don't know, it doesn't look very
Was Tim
good.
Meadows back? Did I see a shot of him? I thought I saw, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was, yeah, he's in the, he's the colon, too.
Well, if you go to see this, you know what you're getting. And
I don't know, man.
It can't be any worse than that Grease Rise of the Pink Lady show that they had on for a while, so.
Ooh, yeah, well, yeah, it looks better than that. I say that much. I can't believe that was a show.
It was definitely a show. I think it's gone, though.
Ooh, wow.
Okay, last trailer of tonight is Bad CGI Gator from the Full Moon folks. This is Charles Band's long-running company who's given you such gems as Doll Man, The Pit and the Pendulum. I mean, just over the years, we've gotten some fucking gems from these.
How did you got some Albert Payne in
Evil
there?
Bong
Yeah.
series, which is always fun.
Evil Bong. I mean, probably best known for Puppet Master
Yeah, I
series.
think that was the big breakthrough for them, right?
But yeah, there's great ones like Trancers is really good. Yeah.
What do we have here? A creature feature that has a purposely low budget
It has bad
CGI.
Gators. It doesn't feel kind of like Sharknado
Yeah,
type
that's
of
why
a
I want to see
thing,
it.
or
I like this trailer.
that's what it's kind of going for. Well, this feels like a full moon movie. It's super cheap looking, much cheaper than Sharknado, which is weird to say that for an Asylum movie, but it is. Not that it doesn't look like an Asylum movie, it just looks like a cheaper one. But this is full moon, to the hilt, bad acting, nonsense plot, but still a lot of fun, right? And when the gator shows up, I like that it's all fucked up. It's like flying around. It gets really huge. Yeah. Like it's just, it's all fucking all over the place. So it looks pretty fun. Like you say, obviously that's what it's supposed to be. So
kind of an ingenious idea though, right? Because they purposely can skimp on the CGI and go, it's the whole idea. It's a low quality monster. Like, fuck, man, what a kind of a brilliant idea that is.
These are the guys that did. I can't remember the name of the movie, but they did a movie like right when the pandemic started on. I can't remember what it's called, but it was basically a pandemic,
Well, also, aren't they doing the Barbenheimer?
So they turned that into a horror movie, and then they're doing the Barbenheimer thing, which is basically an evil doll movie, which is perfect because that's what they make a lot of evil doll movies.
Yeah, I saw you sent me that link that they had gotten the jump on that they have a Barbenheimer movie coming out, which is just. That's the world we live in now. So, I mean, these guys...
Yeah, I don't remember what their COVID one was called, but they did have a
Well,
COVID
they're prolific, and they can shoot these in 5 days.
And so they're very... it feels like they're trying to pick up the mantle for the Asylum a little bit, at least, because the Asylum is just... I don't know. They're still, like, making weird Top Gun movies.
Well, Asylum... is losing their actors to Netflix because C. Thomas Howell was an old dad.
That's true.
And a couple other actors.
He was big over there, man. He's directed a bunch of their shit, like those War of the Worlds ones.
Out of the other ones that I've seen, that's not the worst ones.
But you know what? Yeah, but they go through actors like that, like Eric Roberts right now is probably still in there doing shit for them. Actually, I just got the Wingman one, which is like a weird fucking Top Gun type movie with Eric Roberts in it.
It's probably in 3 scenes. I mean, they sell his name with it, but
yeah, well, that's basically what they do with Eric Roberts now. He is the guy in an office room, like talking, on the phone, telling people what to do. That's Eric Roberts in an Asylum movie at this point.
As you say that, I just imagined him with his shoes off.
But they had C. Thomas
He's probably
Howell
barefoot when he's shooting those scenes. Like, you can't see my feet anyways. I'm going to be barefoot. I want rosary beads around him.
That sounds like an Eric Roberts thing. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else right now, but they ran through a couple actors like that. They'd get them for a while, and they'd probably be done making those movies after a little
Danny
bit.
Trejo. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure all those kind of people.
I can imagine what Eric Roberts get paid, like
who knows?
Tens of thousands of dollars. Like, what would he be paid? He literally does like a day's of work.
$2,500 a day, maybe. I mean, who knows?
What is that?
I mean, who knows?
Shit. That's like the low
like
budget contract.
I have no idea. I mean, shit.
Oh, shit.
I mean, it's a strike. People are hungry. He's willing to work. But this movie looks like it's cheap fun, and I'm sure it's going to be god-awful, and you've been warned if you watch it. But if you make it a drinking game and you have some fun with it, this might be something to hold you over until we get the next entry from the Sharknado guys, which I would be looking forward to because I hope they do because I actually like that series.
I thought they said they were done.
Why fucking come on? They got 2 megs. Let's get another one.
Yeah, like you telling me Ian Ziering's not going to come back for that shit?
He's ready and willing. He's paying off 4 divorces, 3 little illegitimate children. Yeah. He's got expenses, pal. He needs a job.
I'm sure he'll tell you he's the only one that could fight the sharks. It can only be him.
And he'd preferably like to do it in a Chippendales outfit if it was up to him.
Yeah.
Fucking Steve.
Yeah, I mean, we can get Tara Reid back.
She comes cheap, or not at all. Well, that's going to do it for our show tonight.
I don't know how. I don't want to know how you know that, but all right.
That'll wrap up our show tonight. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Movie Mavericks podcast. As always, you can find our back reviews on moviemavericks.com. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I'm Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to moviemavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!